Guys, welcome to our first episode, more or less. We're going to take through our drive to the Aberdares. Karuru Falls was the destination. You can see some of the views, some of the happenings. Let me say, as you all know, we roll the car um, in Aberdares. So off here, Thika Road, the usual traffic for us. It's also about testing the car. As you must know by now, one of the things that we're always doing whenever we are out off-roading is we're also testing our platforms and our rigs, probably to check a couple of things, upgrades here and there, to ideally test what works and what doesn't work. So in this particular episode, we just happened to have done a turbo upgrade to the TD42 engine. Basically involved a couple of things being changed, starting with an injector per mode, going to a manifold change, to a turbo manifold, and of course we chose to go with Subaru TD04 turbo. Um, yeah, and an intercooler to boot. So we noticed that we had quite we'd made some gains in terms of power, speed on road and all that. As you all know, the TD42 is famed for being lazy. We had also done a 3-inch exhaust, so out here we're also checking for the performance of that turbo and how things are going. You notice quite a bit of smoke. We basically become a shisha thingy or something of sort. Anyway, rolling quad setup. Anyway, that was something we were fine tuning along the way, and we weren't overly concerned about that. We had no issues whatsoever. But we had a couple of things to sort out with the exhausts, a few things here and there that we weren't sorting out. Incidentally, we had a lot of fun nevertheless. So ideally we left on Friday, slept overnight in Nyeri. This is the morning after, so this is Saturday morning, when we are going to rendezvous with the rest of the guys going up the Aberdares. So as you can see, the rig was looking beautiful, amazing. Simply put, it was city right. Everything was just working right, except for those minor issues that needed to be fine-tuned. So we happened to chance upon a quarry. And we wouldn't miss the opportunity to take a couple of pics. So yeah, at last we are at the Aberdares gate. This is the one that you get through Nyeri Mwiga. The trip is organized by World Offroad Expeditions, one of those groups of people who come together to try and build a critical mass of conservators and off-road expeditioners, people who care, take care of the environment, people who work with the relevant authorities and basically do things right in conserving the environment and enjoying nature, or at least what has been bestowed upon us to take care of. So we had a flag of the Aberdares gate that brought together the county, the KWS, and of course the off-roaders themselves. We did the flag off, but you know that we also usually, ordinarily, we assume a sweeper position. So after the flag off, put to the side, we let the convoy leader do his thing, and then we were doing the sweeping. As you can see, the county vehicles, we had an ambulance on ground. We were very lucky that the first thing, I think barely a kilometer into the Aberdares National Park, we chanced upon this lone buffalo that was grazing and was seemingly unbothered by all all the cars that were passing and everything. It was having, I think, this morning meal, something or so. Anyway, up we went, and Aberdares is simply beautiful to say the least. The sights and views, I mean the green, the vegetation, what they call it, flora. It's beautiful. I mean, going up the Aberdares ranges was one of a kind of experience, and we enjoyed it immensely, immensely. It was one of those trips that you have to take in your bucket list. Of course, there are a couple of other routes that we will want to explore in the Aberdares. Going forward with the off-road, with the wild off-road expeditioners, but that will happen in due time. By now, if you haven't heard, the Aberdares wild off-road expedition is going to be an annual thing happening around May, June or thereabouts. And in future, the plans are to actually make this sort of increase the number of days that people are doing the expedition as opposed to just doing it over 1 or 2 days. That ideally should result in a more wholesome experience. But anyway, here we are back. As you will notice, we were just taking in the sights and the views and everything that Aberdares had to offer for us. And we had a lot of fun at the end of the day. A crew of 4, myself, my wife, and my friends, Sean and Moriah. That was ideally the only total crew that was with us during this trip. And everybody played their role. At this point, we've just chanced upon one of those places where you have a lovely, if not awesome view, a view to die for. So we thought, why not have a photo moment or photo session? Take a couple of pics, take in the clean air, enjoy and appreciate what nature has for us. So yeah, apologies for the guys handling video. I mean, I guess the excitement was too much that a lot of times they forgot to point the camera in the right direction. But anyway, it's part of the experience. At the end of the day, it's one of those things you just gotta love. You just have to come here in person and experience this. One of the things that we loved, I personally loved during this trip, is the amount of flexing that I was doing in the car. It was just exciting to see how much the vehicle can flex, just how much the angles you can take, how much challenges you can cross over, some element of flexing here and there. And this is what we are talking about. Just look at that. Like you have almost 100% wheel travel. You have your other wheel properly tucked in. I mean, this is what I like to see as an off-roader's haven at the end of the day. So we had a really nice time flexing around and just having fun with the car. Let me say that. Here you can see the Tiny Rush leading the mighty patrol. Not this hip, because this is the infamous one, of course, the 80 series, one of those awesome cars at the end of the day. The KWS Land Cruiser back there. Everybody wanted to do a bit of flexing. I mean, you will be tempted to flex. Yeah, some clever shots. The ambulance with one of the team members. The reason why we always try as much as possible to have ambulance or paramedic supporting in case of any eventualities and emergencies we've experienced. But this is what at about, I think, 3 p.m. or so. Or yeah, basically you notice how cold it can get out in the Aberdares. It's just getting foggy too early. These are some of the streams that eventually feed into the Karuru Falls, what eventually becomes the cave, which is where the Mau used to hide from the British. The water is so clean. Literally, you can drink of that water, of that river. And it just goes to show how if we take care of our environment, it's going to just regenerate and clean itself, so to speak, or at least give us the best. And this is something that we need to do increasingly as a country and as a human race. At the end of the day, we need to take care of our environment. We mess it up, we mess ourselves. So yeah, hope you're enjoying some of these captures and views. I know still amateurish, but we are getting there. Eventually we should be able to do more and greater. But this is some of the vegetation that you'll come across. Incidentally, we didn't come across a lot of animals in the Aberdares, but that's because I think the trip was kind of limited in scope, in the sense that it was a quick get out next day expedition, which we actually thinking that will change at the end of the day. We want people to have a more wholesome experience. So at this point, we are walking on the path that goes to Karuru Falls, a viewing point for Karuru Falls. You have a designated parking area, then you walk down a trail to where Karuru Falls is. One of the things that you realize is you kind of crisscross, you cross over the existing rivers so many times. And this is where you get to appreciate how nature can actually take care of you and yourself and itself rather. At this point, we were mesmerized by the beauty of the Aberdares and what potentially you can you can do out here. And in this particular juncture, the discussion or discourse is that, you know what, this I wanna propose. I mean, forget about going to restaurants and get on your 4x4 rig, step out to one of these awesome places that we have. I mean, we have the Aberdares, we have Mount Kenya, we have so much. This country has to offer so much. Kakamega Forest. I mean, I can't even cover what we have as a country where you can do all these things and actually make an impression, not only an impression on whoever you're proposing to, wherever you're with, but an impression in your mind that you had one of a kind experience. And it's something I will even encourage guys to do increasingly. I mean, you need to tour this country, you need to see what it has to offer. At the minimum, try and travel in the country once a year. Try as much as possible, if you can, make sure that you're not repeating the places that you are traveling to, or if not, try and make sure that if you go back to the same place, you don't take the same route, because then again, how are you going to have a wholesome experience if you're just doing the same thing? It kind of gets boring as a routine. So don't make it in the sense that don't make it a routine in the sense that it's the same thing, the same places, the same itinerary, and such. Make it different. Like choose different itineraries, choose different places. This country has so much to offer, and we barely scratch the surface as a people. So let us try and enjoy our country as much as possible. This is our own resource. I mean, let's travel this, and then let's travel Africa as well, and eventually where the resources and means are available, travel the world as well. I mean, if you don't travel, they say you might as well marry your sister or cousin. No. Anyway, reminds me of another popular restaurant in Nyeri called To Go Is To See. Yeah, so literally, when you travel, you get exposed and you get to see things from a different perspective and get to interact with different people, which is one of the elements that I actually love a lot about doing expeditions and traveling without restrictions. So as the economy opens up, as we get to do more traveling. So here we are. This is the viewpoint that I was talking about earlier. The viewpoint platform on which you actually are able to see the chain or the series of chains of waterfalls that make up Karuru waterfall. Unfortunately, we didn't get to know if there are different designations and names for each small waterfall, but maybe we'll get to know that at a later date. Part of the reason for that is that we are the super crew, so by the time we are getting here, the KWS guys and the rest of the team that was in this expedition had left. So ideally, what you're seeing here are people who are in two cars rather. The Rush that I showed you earlier, the white one, driven by Lemmy, the chair of Wild Offroad Expeditions, and of course the Patrol, driven by myself. But yes, it was a lot of fun. Now, as a Kenyan, if you studied what we call geography, history, and what was the other thing? Civics. I think so. Anyway, if you studied that, there's what used to be called the Seven Forks. Basically, where Kenya generates its hydropower, a series of 7 dams. Yeah, you can see me doing a mock-up proposal, and of course, this lovely lady, she's crazy, that's why I love her. Yeah, so the Karuru Falls is what the 7 Forks for hydropower generation. Essentially, Karuru Falls is a series of, I think, between 4 to 8 successive falls over a distance of, I think it's not so long. I don't think the river even covers like a linear distance of 2 or 4 kilometers, where it has those many falls. So the difference in elevation is massive, and the first one is actually said to be one of the tallest in the country. But I don't know, that's something I intend to check up on. But it is massive. Look at that drop in elevation. One of the things I wish personally is that I was able, or the team was able, to access the falls closer. We were able to get closer to the falls, but as you can see, that elevation change, the terrain and all that is simply impossible. So here we are back to what I call the infamous. Remember, I pointed it out to you. So the rest of the team, majority of the rest of the team has left by this time. We only had the Mount Kenya team that was up ahead of us. I think you can see the car that's just at the bend. Yes. So we were about to come down. This is actually shown with the camera who's walking down. So I was literally about to come down with the car, and as I was coming down, you remember I showed you the peak going up. So going up, in my mind I was like, this is awesome flex territory. So yeah, coming down I was definitely going to be doing a lot of flexing. and I think ultimately we overdid it, but we had a lot of fun. It's what I tell people, that we had an overdose of fun. So you can see the car coming down, see the extreme lean angles that we are doing. At some point in time, I was told that, you know what, you're going to roll the car, but I was like, nah, this guy is very capable. We can do a whole lot more. So we were doing some serious bit of flexing, honestly. And that serious bit of flexing is what it does it. But anyway, they say that what's written will be. So this had been written, and it was time for us to be. They call it baptism by fire. So it was that time for us. So here we go. I think we are just about coming there, and there we go. There we go. There we go, and it's done. So yeah, that is how this guy tipped the car, tipped the patrol. One of those rare things. Learning curves, yes. Too much fun, definitely. Minimal damage. That's the Mount Kenya team who are on that corner coming back. Like, what happened? So we tried to pull a quick rescue. You can notice the jerry can yellow. We were basically fetching fuel that was spilling, because we knew at the end of the day we'll still prepare fuel. So we spilled quite an amount of fuel anyway, but also got an amount which enabled us to get to camp that evening. At this point, we are more or less waiting for the rescue team. So yeah, we have done or are doing a damage assessment. Of course, you have to be at the top of the game. Know what has happened. So here comes the rescue team led by Cyprian, Matthew. Of course, very grateful to these two guys, gentlemen. It took quite a bit of effort. Winch up front, anchor in the rear. We had to drag the car on its side, because ultimately there was no way we were going to get the car back on its four wheels if that embankment was still there. So we had to sort of drag the car to one side on the right, so that when we were pulling it and getting it back on its wheel, it wouldn't bounce off the embankment. Of course, winch protocols observed, guidance at a safe and neutral distance where there would be no impact should anything go wrong. Got everybody in the clear. Everybody was doing their thing, doing their part, and yeah, we eventually get the car off on its four rather. If you notice in this video, there's quite a lot that is happening. There's quite a number of deliberations. Basically, it's teamwork at the end of the day, and you have to be able to trust the rest of the members of the team for you to be able to pull off an effective recovery in such kind of setting. And of course, it is very important that you have always carry your recovery gear. That you also have a vehicle that is effectively or properly equipped to do this. Ideally, if you can, invest in a winch. In this particular scenario, that car, Matthew's car, had a winch, which was a great help to us. We had the two straps and everything. Of course, we could have accessed much, but I mean, everything was in the boot, and we didn't want to get into the boot or open the boot because everything then will spill out. So we used what came with the rescue team. Importantly, in a decent kind of scenario where it's a decent, basically you're going down a hill and you happen to tip over or roll over, you're doing some form of recovery or rescue, you need to anchor that car from the rear, with the key idea being that you don't want to get the car on its wheels, then that's running, just going down on its own. And I know some of you may have seen such kind of videos where guys recover a car and then it just goes down. So anchor the car. You can, if you observe, you will see that the car is moving on the side. It's being dragged on the side by one. That was unfortunately the only way out for us, but I must also say that we did most of the damage to this car when we were doing the recovery, not when it tipped over. When it tipped over, the only thing that we broke at that particular point in time was we didn't even break the windshield anyway. We saw the windshield sort of popped out. All the windows were intact, mirror intact, everything was intact. But during this dragging on the side, when did run a damage, we broke the rear quarter window, we broke the rear passenger door window. This is when we eventually get the car back on its four. Incidentally, when we got the car back on its four wheels, it popped the front right coil spring. Good thing we had the high lift with us. So jacked up the car, immediately slotted the coil spring, the front right coil spring back on. Here we are headed now to camp. Yeah, and you can see the demonstration that there is no. Yeah. So that was our predicament. Almost getting into camp. Slow drive. We're getting there. I must say that after we got the count, it was the car just started. We refueled it. We plugged the fuel system, and just like what they say, it's a half kick-starter. So that is also here we had come, and here's the morning after. Of course, serving them sausages for people. Yeah, so this is the morning after. That point where you ask yourself, what did I do? And you start thinking of how am I going to get home. So at this point, advanced are planning to get home. The team that was there, the 80 series, I think there were two. There was a Jeep, there was two Pajeros, Patrol was one. Patrol was two actually. Jeep was one, Toyota. Yeah, a number of cars anyway. So the question then becomes, what happens after we hold the car? And that is the biggest question in people's mind when you share the video of the road. But back to the video. In this particular point, we are headed home. We went through the Jambini get back to Nairobi. So we don't have a windscreen. We have two escorts, Pajeros by Edu and Mike, two awesome fellas, and of course, shout out to them for being ballast keepers. This is what I love about the offroad. At the end of the day, you are not really alone, and it's not just the offroad community. It's actually it's the whole motoring community. I think my experience with Subaru, experience with off-road cars, it doesn't really matter the platform. As long as you're in a community of enthusiasts, you are never alone. So these were the escorts home. We were back on Naivasha, Nairobi. This is the street moment. So we decided that we needed two helmets for the front passengers, and that's because of the wind exposure that we were getting. So this is what happens after you roll a car. get to a point where you decide, how do I want to head with that? And for us, the decision was pretty easy because we had always wanted to do the first ever Trayback chop in the country, number one. Number two, we had just rolled the car, and the question was, do you want to repair panels and then later on chop them, or do you want to chop and just do a single repair? So for us, the question was pretty easy and pretty straightforward. So we chose to go with the Trayback chop. You will notice, okay, this is now the rear of the Patrol. I don't know, I have mixed emotions about this, but if you have an idea of what you can do with this rear, give us a shout. I can promise that there'll be something for you. So whoever comes up with the best idea, ideally, you can come up for free service. But throw your views or your suggestion in the comments area, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. In the next episode, we are basically going to show you what the whole process of that Trayback chop and what we have done. So in about a month, hit us up. We are aspiring to be doing a video once every month on the 20th, ideally. So hit us up. Those are other long stall projects. We are just about getting around to working with people. We are also currently working on the Daihatsu Offroad into our church car, call it that, or extreme competition car. Don't forget that you can come to us sandblasting for powder coating, for anything to do with 4x4 upgrades, basically roof racks, your bar work, side steps, your rear tire carriers. Talk about anything, you can come to us.